Hey, before we even start, I need you to do something for me. Just be honest with yourself for the next few minutes. Not with me, with you. Because what I'm about to share, most people already feel it somewhere deep down. They just don't want to face it. And that avoidance, that little habit of looking away from uncomfortable truths, that's exactly what's been keeping you where you are. So if you're ready to actually hear some real talk, stay with me. This one matters. If you caught the last video, you know we talked about actually getting off the couch and starting. And a lot of you did. I saw the comments rolling in. People lacing up for the first time in years. People saying, okay, this is it. I'm doing this. And I'm not going to lie. That genuinely got to me. Because starting is the hardest part. Everyone says that, but it's true. The decision to begin is where most people stay forever. They never leave the decision stage. They just keep deciding and never doing. So the fact that some of you actually moved, that's real. That means something. But here's the thing nobody warned you about. And this is the part where I need you to really pay attention. When you start running after a long break, or for the very first time in your life, your body doesn't just say, "Oh, cool, we're doing this now, let's go." That is not what happens. What actually happens is that your body enters a kind of low-level panic mode. And I mean that almost literally. And if you don't know what's coming, if nobody prepares you for it, you're going to think something is genuinely wrong with you. You're going to feel it in your legs, in your chest, in your sleep, in your energy levels, and you're going to start looking for a reason to stop. Because your brain is very good at finding reasons to stop when your body is uncomfortable. It's basically a professional at it. That's what this video is about. The real reaction. The stuff that actually happens in your body when you force it to move after a long time of barely moving at all. Some of what I'm going to say is going to sound familiar, maybe uncomfortably familiar. Some of it is going to explain things you've already experienced and didn't understand. And all of it is going to give you exactly what you need to keep going instead of giving up when it gets hard. And it will get hard. Let's not pretend otherwise. If you're new here, hit subscribe right now. This is a series. We're building from zero, complete beginner, all the way to actually being a runner who knows what they're doing, episode by episode. You don't want to jump in halfway and miss the foundation. All right, let's get into it. So, you ran? Maybe 2 days? Maybe 3? Maybe you even pushed yourself to 5 or 6. And something happened. Something you didn't fully expect. Your body started doing things that felt off. Really off. And I want to dig into that, because the silence around this experience is one of the main reasons people quit before they've even really started. Nobody talks about the ugly part of the first week. Everyone shows you the finish line photos. Nobody shows you day 3 when you can barely walk down the stairs without grabbing the railing. Let me take you back to when I started running consistently for the first time. And I want to be clear, I was not a runner. I was one of those people who ran occasionally, hated most of it, and had a very convincing internal argument about why I was more of a gym person. Classic. We're going to talk about that kind of excuse in a minute, because it deserves its own moment. But I made a real decision to commit to running. Not just go out once and see how it feels. Actually commit. Lace up every day and go, no matter what. Day 1 was fine. Tired, short of breath, definitely not pretty, but fine. Day 2, my legs were a little sore. Expected. I could live with it. Day 3? Day 3 hit me in a way I didn't see coming. I woke up, and my calves felt like someone had poured concrete into them overnight. My knees had this dull, constant ache. And I was more exhausted than the day before, not less, which made zero sense to me. I'd been active 2 days in a row. Shouldn't I be getting better? Shouldn't my body be adapting? Why did I feel worse? And here's the part that actually scared me. My heart was doing something weird. Even when I was just sitting at my desk, it felt like it was beating harder than normal. Like my resting heart rate had climbed for no reason. I remember sitting there genuinely wondering, did I hurt myself? Am I doing damage? Is my body telling me to stop? Here's the answer. No. And also, a little bit yes. But mostly no. And I'm going to explain why, because this is where everything starts to make sense. When you start running, your body enters a state of mild shock. I know that sounds dramatic. It kind of is. Think about what's actually happening from your body's perspective. If you've been sedentary for months or years or even just a few weeks, your entire system has settled into a comfortable cruise. Your heart doesn't need to pump hard. Your muscles don't need to fire fast or recover from anything significant. Your lungs don't need to work anywhere near their real capacity. Everything is just ticking over. Low demand, low output, comfortable. And then you go run a mile. Suddenly, your heart rate is at 160, 170, maybe higher. Your lungs are burning, your legs are sending distress signals, and your body, like a car engine that's been sitting cold in a garage all winter, is being pushed from 0 to 60 way faster than it was ready for. Everything has to respond at once. The cardiovascular system, the muscular system, the respiratory system, all of them scrambling to meet a demand they haven't seen in a long time. The soreness that hits you on day 2, and especially day 3, that's called delayed onset muscle soreness. It peaks between 24 and 48 hours after the workout, not right after, so you go for your first run and feel okay. You wake up the next morning and think, not too bad. And then the morning after that, you try to get out of bed and your legs stage a protest. This is why day 3 is when most beginners quit, because it feels like regression. It feels like the running is making you worse. But that feeling is completely backwards. What's actually happening is your muscle fibers are repairing micro tears from the effort you put in, and they're rebuilding stronger than they were before. That soreness is growth. It sounds insane when you're limping to the bathroom at 7 a.m., but it's true. You are literally building a better version of your legs while you sleep. The pain is just the construction noise. And the elevated heart rate, that's your cardiovascular system in full adaptation mode. It's building new capillaries, tiny blood vessels, to deliver more oxygen to your muscles. It's increasing your blood volume. It's training your heart to become more efficient. All of that takes energy. All of that costs you something in the short term. And the short-term cost is feeling kind of terrible. But the long-term return? That's everything. That's the whole point. Here's the uncomfortable truth, and I want you to actually sit with this one. If you don't feel some real discomfort in the first week of running, you're probably not pushing yourself enough to create any meaningful change. Now, I'm not talking about sharp joint pain or anything sudden and localized. If something feels like an injury, go see a doctor, not a YouTube video. But general soreness, fatigue, breathlessness, that's your body catching up with the demand you placed on it. That's normal. That's supposed to happen. Be honest with yourself right now. Is what you're feeling actual pain, or is it just hard? Because there's a real difference, and deep down, you already know which one it is. Okay, now let's talk about the excuses. Because I know you've got some. I've heard them all. And I've probably used most of them myself at some point. So let me just put them on the table, look them in the eye, and deal with them. I think I might have injured myself. Maybe. Or maybe you're just sore for the first time in years, and your brain, which is extremely talented at self-preservation, is constructing a very reasonable-sounding exit. Ask yourself honestly, is it a sharp pain in a specific spot? Or is it a general, whole muscle, I used something, I forgot, I had kind of soreness? Those are completely different things. Running is bad for your knees. This one genuinely drives me crazy, because it has given millions of people a science-sounding excuse to never run a single mile. The research on this is pretty consistent. Recreational running is not a meaningful risk factor for knee damage in healthy people. In fact, a sedentary lifestyle is far more damaging to your joints in the long run than moderate running. But this myth is so sticky, so convenient, that it lives on forever, and people repeat it with such confidence. Oh, I'd love to run, but my knees. Stop. Just stop. I started and didn't see results, so what's the point? This one actually makes me want to shake someone. If you started running 3 days ago and you're already looking for visible results, you fundamentally misunderstand how the human body works. You don't plant a seed on a Monday and eat fruit on a Wednesday. Real, lasting change, the kind that actually transforms your fitness, happens slowly, invisibly at first, and then all at once. The cardiovascular adaptations from running begin in the first week. You just can't see them yet. That doesn't mean they're not happening. I'm too tired after running to do anything else. Yes, because you're doing something real. Your body is pouring its resources into recovery. That's not a problem. That's the system doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Give it time, give it sleep, give it food, and the fatigue will become more manageable. But in week 1, you're going to be tired. Accept it and move forward. Here's the real thing underneath all of these excuses, and I say this with zero judgment because I've been here too. You want all the benefits of being a runner without going through what it takes to become one. You want the strong legs, the better lungs, the clear head, the confidence, the way your clothes fit differently, the way you feel walking into a room. You want all of that, and you should want it, because it's all real. But you don't want the soreness, the breathlessness, the disrupted sleep schedule, the mornings where it's cold and dark and you have to go anyway. And I get it. I completely get it. But that's not how any of this works. That has never been how it works. Pensa nisso. You're not injured. You're not fragile. You're just uncomfortable. And you've spent a lot of time building a life that minimizes discomfort. So the second your body sends a complaint signal, your brain starts building a case for why stopping is the smart, responsible, healthy choice. That's not weakness. That's literally how human brains are wired. But you can override it. You have to override it. Consciously, every single day, until running starts to feel like something you do rather than something you survive. All right, enough. Let's talk about what actually helps, because that's what you came here for. Run slower than you think you should. I mean this. Most beginners run way too fast. You should be able to hold a real conversation while running. Not gasping out half a word between breaths. An actual sentence. If you can't do that, you're going too fast, and you're training your body wrong. Slowing down feels wrong. It feels like you're not really working. But you are. You're building your aerobic base, and you cannot rush that process. You're building an engine right now. It's small. Don't put racing fuel in it. and wonder why it blows up on day 4. Sleep like it's your job. 7 to 9 hours. Not 6. Not 5.5 with a podcast playing until you drift off. Real, deep, consistent sleep. Because that's when your body actually does the work of adapting. The muscle repair, the cardiovascular rebuilding, the hormonal regulation. It all happens during sleep. If you're running hard and sleeping poorly, you are working against yourself. You're making progress with one hand and erasing it with the other. Sleep is not optional. It is the most underrated running tool there is, and it's completely free. Walk breaks are not failure. Read that again. Walk breaks are not failure. If you need to slow to a walk in the middle of a run, walk. Recover. Then run again. The goal in week 1 is not to run a mile without stopping. The goal is to keep your body moving, stay consistent enough to come back tomorrow, and not develop such a traumatic relationship with running that you never want to do it again. Walk breaks. Let your heart rate come down just enough to extend the overall effort. You end up doing more total work, not less. And this last one is probably the most important thing I can say about surviving the first days. Pay attention to your body, but don't give it veto power. Your body will send you complaints. It will tell you it's tired. It will tell you it's sore. It will tell you it's not ready. And today is not a good day. And maybe you should just start fresh on Monday. Most of those signals are real, but manageable. Some of them are just your comfort zone negotiating for its life. You have to learn the difference between I need actual rest and I want to quit. Rest days are real and necessary. Build them into your week. Take them seriously. But quit days? Those are optional. And choosing not to take them is exactly how you become someone who runs. Here's the thing I really want you to carry out of this video. The reaction your body has in the first days of running is not a warning sign telling you to stop. It's proof that something is finally changing. It's your body saying, okay, something is being demanded here that hasn't been demanded in a long time, and I am going to figure it out. That adaptation is the whole point. It's the source of every single improvement you will ever make as a runner. Not the easy days, the hard ones, the days where everything hurts a little and you go anyway. Those are the days that actually build you into something different. Let me leave you with this. Most people quit running in the first week. Not because they can't do it physically. Not because their body actually failed them, but because nobody told them the truth about what those first days feel like. And when it got hard and confusing and uncomfortable, they read it as a sign. They decided their body was telling them no. But that's not what your body was saying. Your body was saying, finally, let's do this. Let's figure out how to get better at this together. And they walked away from the conversation right when it was getting real. Don't be that person. You are not too old. You are not too out of shape. You are not built wrong for this. You are just in the early part of something that takes longer than 3 days to feel good. And that gap between the first day and the day it finally starts to feel natural and even good, that gap is where most people live and die with running. They never cross it. They stay right on the edge of it, stopping and starting and stopping again, never quite getting to the other side. Cross it. It's worth everything on the other side. Now, about the next episode. Because here's where this story takes a turn I genuinely didn't see coming, and I think it's going to hit some of you really hard. Day 5. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened on day 5 of my running streak and why I came within about 5 minutes of quitting completely and never going back. And the reason, I promise you, is not what you're expecting. It wasn't injury. It wasn't exhaustion. It wasn't even the physical stuff we talked about today. It was something else entirely. Something that gets into your head in a way that no amount of muscle soreness ever could. Something psychological. Something weird and specific and, honestly, a little embarrassing to admit. And if you're currently building a running habit, there's a very real chance this same thing is going to happen to you. Maybe it already has. So you need to hear it before it does, or before it gets worse. The next episode is coming. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it when it drops. And while you're down here in the comments, tell me, what did your body do in those first few days when you started running? What surprised you? What almost made you stop? Drop it below, because I read every single one, and I can almost guarantee that your story is exactly what someone else needs to read today to keep going. Your honesty might be the thing that keeps someone in the game. So don't hold back. I'll see you in the next one.